I have no idea what I'm doing.
Woke up in a hotel in Cairns.
That's right.
Yeah.
Surrounded by naked people, some of them men, some of them women. They were all covered in mud. Who can tell?
That's exactly right.
It was a weird night.
Yeah.
I finally gotten back.
Yeah.
And with that... All right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Board Game Gateway podcast, episode number 36. I'm your host, Neeber, and I am joined by three lovely hosts around the table for today's episode. I've got to my left, Mr. Damien.
Hello.
Across the table, Mr. Matt.
G'day.
And to my right, Mr. Ralph.
Hi, everyone.
And if this is the first time listening to the Board Game Gateway podcast, hello, welcome. It's lovely to have you here. We are your entryway into the world of board gaming, tabletop gaming, and fun times. And we've got a little bit of a fun one for you today. Our discussion topic is much less of a discussion and more of a introspective into our little psyches here. We're going to be playing a game of Keep, Sell, Burn. We've got a whole bunch of some lists that have been given to us by the community. And we're going to be having a look at, which games we want to keep, which ones we would sell, which ones we would burn, as you would obviously think by that title. I think that's right, yeah? Yeah, I think so. Anyway, moving on. Before we get to that point, we are going to have a chat about the upcoming Spiel des Jahres nominations, which have been announced on BoardgameGeek. We're also going to have a chat about some of the games that we've played over the past week, and then we'll be talking about our gateway game of the week this week, which is Bohnanza, the Bean City, Bean Counting. We've been doing a lot of it, so it's
so many beans.
Yes. So many beans. Trading beans? Do you want beans? Too bad. You've got to plant those beans now. Oh, God. Anyway, let's get into the games that we've played this week. I'm going to pass it straight to Mr. Ralph. Welcome, sir. Lovely to have you back behind the mic. But what have you been playing over the week?
So, big development in my life. Got a new child at home.
Woo!
Yeah.
Huzzah!
First one.
Yours?
Yes, it's mine.
Okay, good, guys.
We haven't done a DNA test, but I'm pretty sure he's
I'm just making sure we're no longer in the habit of just picking up kids off the street and taking them home.
Yeah, go play board games with me.
You only ever do it once, really.
Yeah.
Come and trade beads with me, little child.
Yes.
Oh, no. What a start.
Man. Well, I do know someone that has 4 kids and has a van. So.
Yes. Sorry, the kids came first, then the van. Just so any listeners out there, right? It isn't like we had a van and we go, we've got a van now, we're going to get some kids. Let's go.
Little side note, so we're going to go back because you've got 4, you've got 3, I've got 2. Ralph, this is your first
one. That's right. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's not too bad. So we'll start with me in the conversation here. So I've turned into like a big complex solo gamer now, like where I'm normally in the big complex co-op and that sort of space, but now like as I'm not leaving the house, I'm looking for those heavy solo games.
Awesome.
And I took the plunge. I had Arkham Horror LCG a few years ago, and I rebought back into it.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm just really enjoying the Arkham Horror space, and I'm excited to hear from Damien because you've just dived in recently as well.
Yeah, so a mutual friend of Ralph and mine had me over on the weekend. Many thanks again for putting up with me for an afternoon. And he offered to introduce me to Arkham Horror LCG. And before sort of explaining briefly what the game is, I just want to openly say it is a Fantasy Flight LCG game, so it still uses very much that model where it's like, hey, give us more money and we'll give you some more content.
Yeah,
it's a super scary model, and I was always very hesitant of playing this game because I did originally jump into Marvel Champions, again uses a similar model, and I literally jumped in hook, line, and sinker, and they had me for a while until I sold everything. So
I will say this is the first time you're hearing the the term LCG. It does refer to living card game. Yeah. So different to a trading card game. This is the idea of that. You can play a certain amount of missions in the story or whatever it is. And then if you want to play another part or a separate campaign or add more cards or more champions, you have to go and spend maybe an extra $20 to $25 to buy.
Yeah, so
it's kind of like expansion packs for the game.
It's a bit of that, but living card game is more about the rules, where they make up the rules as they release more cards. Yeah, they can constantly change.
Yeah, and just to round out this last bit before we jump in, I know it sounds like I'm taking a shot at the model. I'm not. Like, you can absolutely just buy just one box, just a core box, and play it and be happy. And a lot of people do. It's just that typically these things are incredibly addictive
and incredibly expensive.
And incredibly expensive.
That feeling of discovery as you're playing it is always there.
But Arkham Horror LCG, what it is that you are playing an investigator. This is your character, and it is very, very deep. It drips in H.P. Lovecraft theme.
Yep.
More so than other games. So other games that fit into this theme, they immediately go Cthulhu, go kill a monster. There is some of that in this game, but Arkham Horror LCG, and this is what really captured me, was that the writing wasn't just about killing monsters. It is true Lovecraftian writing. It is about you are digging into this almost horror story where you don't know if you're going insane, but you're going to go and investigate, and you may run into characters who are going, "You're a moron. You clearly are insane." And you're then turning around to them and said, "But there's a ghoul in the room. What's going on?" And yet the game just keeps moving on as normal. Yeah. Like I said, you play an investigator, and the way the game works is as an investigator, you have a deck of cards. This represents actions, tools you may have, and essentially things you can do as this investigator. On your turn, you are going to be drawing cards, and you are going to be playing cards to your tableau. These cards could be one-offs, or they could be tools that you hold on to, which then allow you to perform actions. The actions you are performing could be anything from performing attacks to investigating things in rooms. So there will be clues that you can try and find in rooms, and clues are important because maybe that is part of the objective of the mission, is to have n number of clues. And every time you perform, well, not every time, but a lot of the actions that you perform in the game require a skill check. And to me, this is one of the most wonderful things about the game, in addition to the writing, is that the skill check is not a dice roll. It is a bag pull.
Yep.
So before you set up the mission, depending on the mission prerequisites and depending on the difficulty that you'd like to set for the game, you load this bag with a number of modifiers. So it's anything from a +1 all the way down to a -5 in some missions.
Jeez.
And you also have an instant fail token, and you have 4 other tokens that you could potentially add to the bag.
And there's an instant success as well.
And
that bag changes during the story
and
the campaign. You can build on it for better or worse.
Yeah.
Your decisions stick with you.
Yeah.
And it's just insane.
And that's and without going into the game too much, because there is a lot to discover, and it's definitely the sort of thing that I really don't want to spoil too much, because the story is amazing. That is the other thing to remember about this game, is that it is a campaign. It is campaign driven.
Right.
And no matter what your outcome is at the end of that particular stage in that campaign, you carry that. And whether that be a success, whether that be a fail, or in some cases, whether you just bail, you just go.
Yeah, you can just leave.
You can just leave.
You can set up the game and you go, you know what? I'm not walking in that building.
Yeah, that's
it.
it.
You can just do that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there are certain events where they go where at the end of the at the end of that stage, you could say the decision you make. So, for instance, the very, very first
the gathering.
The gathering. Thank you very much. So the gathering, right at the end, you literally get an option. Do you want to keep investigating, or are you going to burn this bastard down? I selected let's burn it down, because that's just so much fun.
Yeah.
So you guys have talked about this a bit on the podcast, Ralph. You actually mentioned it a couple of episodes back that you had been going through another campaign. So in terms of when you mentioned that how you investigate clues and storyline, I'm assuming there's some sort of campaign storybook that you have been told to go to and things like that.
So there is, for example, there's a campaign box called The Path to Carcosa,
which is the one that you mentioned in the previous podcast.
Which is all about a play, which at the point of the second act, the audience are all dead. And wherever this play plays throughout the world, the crowd is dead. And you have to discover, why did this happen? Why was I the only person in the audience left alive? Like, all this sort of stuff. Okay. And the story just takes off from there. So that one, it's driven through the cards, the story. I actually just finished Edge of the Earth, which is another campaign box. Finished it this week. And that was more of, okay, well, you go back and you read 3 pages from a novel, and then you go back to the game.
Yeah.
2 very different boxes, 2 different experiences.
Okay.
Every mission in the campaign can be played as a standalone, so you don't need to go through 6 levels before you play the one you really like. If you have a favorite, you can just go straight there.
Yep.
Yeah, there's nothing like this game. Highly recommend you try it.
Yeah.
So how long would you sit down with it usually for?
It depends, because like I said, you can set up the game and go, you know what, I don't want to walk into that creepy building. I don't need to find evidence. I'm right.
Yep.
You can just leave and go to the next level if you like.
So if I do that, I'm assuming it says turn to page 57
So,
and read this paragraph or something along those lines.
Depends.
So I'll say the one thing that, and I had a bit of time after I played on Saturday to really think about why this game really appealed to me. And I will say it's the first game that I've ever played which really brought me back to some of the old fight and fantasy books that I used to read when I was a kid. So the choose your own adventure style books. For any of our listeners out there, you can still get them today. If you go to your local game shop, have a look. There's a ton of authors of them now. But simply what they are, you read often a chapter, and then and then at that point onwards, you'll have a decision to make. And really all you need is a pencil and a die, usually. And you roll that die and you basically resolve an event and you turn to a page. This gave me that same feeling, because the thing that I really loved about those fight and fantasy books is that some of them anyway, I mean, actually a lot of them, because I did read some really good ones, is that they're well written. They really are great stories. And that's what I really loved about Arkham LCG was that so my friend and I, we spent, so he handed me the book. He said, look, I've done this mission already, but I want you to read it to experience it.
It's great.
And it was great. And it was just me 5 minutes just reading out loud, sort of just like
you're creating the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. And then what you then do is then you start reading sort of the objective cards, both the mission and the Doom cards that come out as well. And that's the other thing that I didn't mention at the beginning. Your objectives will be on one card, and sometimes there'll be multiple cards that you have to work through.
And there's sometimes like you don't have to fulfill all of them. You can just go for this other type of thing. So the game is so simple in the mechanics as to what you can do on your turn, but doesn't make the decisions easy.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. And then the Doom cards, they're the things that you're trying to avoid, and they will progress every single round.
Yeah.
And again, as the Doom progresses, you'll then turn the card and you'll read. There'll be some flavor text, and that flavor text is just fantastic.
Right. Okay.
Typically, I will skip over that stuff, but every single word was worth reading.
I found I was reading flavor text on cards, even though I played the game before.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly doing that because you're in that world. Like the theme drives this game.
That's absolutely.
All the characters play differently. You don't need to be the guy that kills the monsters. You can be the guy that avoids them. You can be the guy that, shrivels them up or whatever. It makes it easier to kill. Things like that. There's so many different.
Or you could even be the character that's just really good at running away.
Yeah.
There is literally a character that is fantastic at just going, no, I'm out, and that's it.
That's it.
And that's all they do. And it seems absolutely silly, but
the game throws things at you where like you can't do everything.
That's right. Yes, but even the act of running away, as silly as it seems, you then basically constantly you're then playing this game of cat and mouse,
right?
While you're still
always trying to run away.
Well, you're always trying to run away, but you're still trying to meet mission objectives. And if it turns out that your ability, or rather you running away, feeds into certain cards, it then only further benefits you to try and trigger that action. So honestly, there is so much to love about this game. Yes, it is scary addictive. No, you do not need to buy everything there is for it.
No.
You should never buy all of an LCG.
No.
Just buy the base set, see if you actually enjoy it, and then see if there's something you want to put some more money into.
Absolutely. But what I would say, and again, if people haven't picked up on it yet, like really take the time to read it if you're interested in diving in.
Yep.
And because that level of storytelling seems to exist throughout it, and it's just so good.
What I really love about this fan base, right? So there's an app on the computer called Tabletop Simulator, and anyone can just sort of scan content and put it online. People can play it on the virtual table. there's the entirety of this Arkham Horror LCG on there. And Fantasy Flight actually sued the creator of the mod, and they had to take it down, and it's just gone missing. A couple of years later, it's just reappeared. And now on Reddit and things, it's placed, people are like, we don't talk about this anymore. We don't talk about Fight Club, you know?
Yeah.
But it's all on there, so definitely try it out.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Arkham Horror LCG, strong. It's a huge recommend for me. It goes up to 4. I would
2 or 3.
Yeah, I'd recommend 2, 3 max.
Yeah.
Just because there is a little bit of slowdown, because you only ever have one person reading,
Right?
You know,
And
stuff like
what's
that.
amazing is say Damien's having some trouble with his character. I can come in the same room and help him out with his objective or his goals or something, so he doesn't die.
Okay.
Like it's just it's quite an experience. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
So I've been diving into that this week. It's been quite. I've been huddled up in the corner of a spare room, and my wife checks in on me, and it should be the other way around, but
Slowly going insane.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Much like the game. And what a dive that was into that game. So anyway, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I mean, I've always been a bit interested in that system because it seems like there's so much more that I'm missing out. So
Yeah, we should try it out sometime.
Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't talk about Fight Club and see what's going on. Anyway, Matt, welcome back.
Thank you.
This is the first actual podcast. This is the first non-special event podcast you've been in since episode 28, I believe it was, which was quite a while ago. So
1928, really?
yeah,
1928.
Yeah,
he's in the
I hide
20s.
my age pretty well.
Yeah, definitely.
He was around
Looking
in
good.
Prohibition, so you know.
I
but
mean,
I feel like absolute death.
Yeah.
but I look good.
I mean, you still carry the crank to the front of your car, but
that's right.
you know, you really need an upgrade. Like, just take it in. They'll give you a good trade-in price.
My
Just-
steam-powered car.
But you wanted to have a quick chat and just bring up a game that we've talked about before, but you've gotten a couple of plays under your belt in the past couple of weeks.
What game is that, Matt?
What's it called?
Hansa Teutonica.
I call it Sansa for some reason. I think I've been
From Game of Thrones.
Well, someone mentioned Game of Thrones to me last week, and it's brought back horrible memories of that time in my life. I'm sure everyone has the same feelings about Game of Thrones. No, so yeah, Hansa Teutonica. We played it last night and last week. Yeah,
We played last
week,
week.
yeah.
All 5 of the hosts got together and we decided to play a 5-player game of it on the
great.
table.
it's bloody annoying, that game.
It's so good.
It's too easy to pick up. It's too easy to.
It's just
it
cubes.
annoys me. It's just moving cubes and getting in everyone else's way, and then they get in your way, and it's just for a game where it literally is just cubes and a board. It is a very well made game. That's for sure.
For those, if this is the first time you're listening or heard of this game, essentially it's a game about making routes between cities, but these routes are just symbolized by us putting cubes in between 2 different cities.
I'd say
Yeah.
it's like a complicated ticket to ride. It's a
Yeah,
step up.
that's
Yeah.
exactly. Actually, that's a very apt description. I'd say that's very well said. And so the game itself is all about, well, I need to complete this route, and like this route is only 3 cubes long, but I only have 2 actions.
I can
this
only
turn.
place 2 cubes.
So I'll place 2 cubes down on my turn, and then Ralph comes along and puts a cube in the middle of that route, and you're like, get out of it. So then I have to spend a turn to kick him out of that route.
You can give me a bean if you like.
Oh, we'll do that in the next segment. The whole game is about trying to set up a network of these cities that you own by claiming these routes, but everyone can get in your way. It's the one of these quintessential Euro style games where everyone has a player board. You're trying to upgrade your player powers. So do you want to have more actions? Do you want to be able to move more cubes? Do you want to be able to get more from your supply? It's very, as I've described on the podcast, very beige. It's very brown, but
You know what?
the brownness really helps because all of the player characters are very highly colorful. So all of your cubes are like bright yellow, bright pink, purple, green. They all stand out against the board, and that's what I think really helps sell this game.
I think this game has opened up to me exactly the type of gamer that I am. Because when you pulled it out of the box, I was looking at it going, ugh.
Yeah.
All these German words and
Blake was
it's
like
just
that too. He's
cubes
like-
and a board. What is this? And by the end of it, I'm like, oh, I've got to play this again.
Yeah.
This is so engrossing. And like, I think I judge a game as well. Firstly, before I play it, I judge it by how pretty it is. But when I'm playing it, I really judge it by how often I pick my phone up. And I don't think I picked my phone up at all in that game. Like I was watching everyone's moves and trying to figure out what everyone else was doing to get in their way. And I think we ended up with 3 points dividing first, second, and third.
Yeah, Blake won with 38 points. I came second with 37, and Ralph came. You were next with 36, but then you were close to.
I think I was on 34.
You were on
or
34,
33.
and then we had Mr. Damien.
I came
21.
dead
21,
last.
right?
Yeah.
But like it was really, really close.
I just want to read the flavor text at the back.
Yeah, go for it.
And just see how this resonates with you.
Oh, here we
guys.
go.
Hansa Teutonica is an open action strategy game of achieving wealth and fame in the Hansa Teutonica League. Clever use of your merchants and traders, timely improvement of your abilities, constant observation of your opponents, and the best use of your various opportunities to gain virtual prestige are the keys to becoming the most successful merchant in history. We were merchants?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
and this
I
is
was
the
just
thing.
putting cubes on a board.
Well, and
Yeah,
the-
cube merchants were
Cube-
very
yeah.
popular back in the
That's right,
16th
yeah.
century.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, Germany it was built on cubes.
Like the beef cube, the corn cube, the bean cube. It's
The-
like
the
cubes,
soy
man.
cube.
The soy
The soy
cube.
Yeah.
It was all about cube.
the
milk-
cow cube.
The cow cube. I mean, hey.
That was the beef cube.
And
Well,
then-
no.
Oh, they
there's
come out of cow cubes.
Yeah,
You're right.
There's the
Sorry.
beef cube
Yeah.
and the cow cube.
Yeah.
No, and so like that is one
the
of those
cheese
things-
cube. Or
like-
rather, sorry,
I was
the
gonna
milk
say-
cube, which then became cheese.
That did not resonate with me at all.
Well, and see,
If you read that, you wouldn't be going, I got to pick this up.
Nothing
with
with that was about route building.
Well, it actually kind of is because, and this is the thing. This game is very much.
You
This
ever
kind
played
of,
this game, Nee?
Yeah, this game is very much this kind of abstract thing. It's just putting cubes down, trying to claim cities, and when you start playing this game, like
but it doesn't say that on the box.
when you start playing this game, you are right. Which is Matt, I'm very interested to get your take here. Which is that we started the first game, you were like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and then the next game we played it less than a week later again, and you went, all right, I've got an idea of what screwed me over.
Man, it
last
was like
time."
the third round in that first game where I was like, oh, bloody hell, I've already stuffed myself, right? Like, I have set off on the wrong footing straight away and have no idea how to get back into this game.
Yeah, the thing I find most difficult about this game is timing. Is knowing when to take a city versus taking an upgrade.
Yeah.
Is knowing when to begin moving into certain parts of the board. Because ultimately in our game last week, that's what killed me, was that I was too late to a particular part of the board, and then all of a sudden I'm competing with 3 other people.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't get in there. But
The other thing that I discovered just last night, it's also seeing your opponents make a move and then being the person willing to get in their way. And so there was a couple of times last night where my turn was immediately after Anthony's.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you guys also have to stop him. So I'm not going to get in his way. I'm going to go in search of my own glory and hope that Tom or Hamish would do the dirty work for me. Occasionally it worked.
There were
not
2
often,
rounds
though.
where they didn't, and those 2 rounds allowed me to just. I had a little strat where I had the shortest route on the board, and I was just scoring points in between the two cities, right? And so every time I claimed this route, I gained 2 points. It's a race to 20, right? So it's like that's a 10th of my score that I need to end this game every time I do it, and I can just do it once a turn. And I did it 3 times in a row, and no one stopped me. And I literally said to you guys, I went, "Someone's got to stop me here, guys. Otherwise, I'm just going to run away with this." And Matt finally begrudgingly went, well, I guess I'm going to be the one to do it because Tom and Hamish didn't do it, right?
Yeah.
It went bang. But the game itself, we just kind of wanted to bring it up because we've talked about it a couple of times, but this kind of takes me back into this early 2000s kind of era of board gaming where it's like the anti-Kickstarter production. There's no plastic, there's no miniature, but the imagination that you have about imagining the board state, what actually vying for the control of the regions actually means. It's so thought-provoking.
It's a very pure board game.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
And
I love the fact that you don't have to show your hand. Like I'll
Yep.
put cubes out everywhere, sprawl them across, and then on the opportunity when it comes up, I'll just move all my cubes
Move
and take
them
the
somewhere
entire
else.
route
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
want.
But that is a strategy. That is a
Yeah.
strategy because you need to have cubes on the board.
I
So
love
it's like,
that.
where do you put them?
And it is a game as well where you're not ever locked out of the game. I don't think.
Yeah,
You've
no.
always got an opportunity. I mean, obviously in the end game, it starts to become pretty obvious. All right, I might be too far behind to catch up. But
Well, that's the typical of any Euro.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But even then, there's still opportunities to make some extra points up here and there.
yeah, I think one thing you both Matt and Nee, you two touched on, and I know this is what happened in the game that I was in last week, was that we all just ignored Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just absolutely romped this crazy victory. The game, I think where the game is most successful is when you have the whole table keeping an eye on every other person at the table, and the game can be absolutely brutal for everyone else if you just forget about a particular person and you're not monitoring. So that's kind of where I think the game really is at. It's not necessarily worrying about your routes. It's more so worrying about what everyone else is doing.
Admittedly, that is the style of Blake's gameplay. He sits and he's quiet, and you're like, yeah, big combo, big points. He's got something up his sleeve, and what's it going to be? And then 4 moves later, you're like, well, game over. Thanks a lot.
To be fair, one of the first games I ever played with Blake was Root when I was teaching him, and he just absolutely stomped me and was like, okay.
He knows what he's doing.
Yep, yeah, okay, cool. Now, I'm going to keep an eye on you. So I made sure just to eliminate him like the third round.
I've got a question on Hansa Teutonica though, because this is a game I played once, and I was like, all right, this will get to my collection at some point for sure. What's the difference between the base box and the big box version?
So this was the re-release edition of the game. Essentially, the big box has got 2 different maps in there. There's a Britannica. There's a couple of little expansion modules and things that you can play. There is some sort of
did we play
chips?
with
No, we just played
different coins.
The bonus chips?
Yeah, different bonus chips, but we just played the base game. Honestly, I have never played the expansion stuff. I don't need to. The base game is so tight. It's just one of these games that looks very dry, and it is, but it's just one of those that as soon as you start playing it, because again, we've talked about this, action space is very simple. You got 5 different actions that you can do, and the amount of actions that you can do then just become, I can do 3 of these things in any order that I want, and I can repeat any of these actions. So that means I can come up with plans and
the
stuff.
game just flies by.
I will say in a 5-player game, that was the first time we've played 5-player, and it was
a tad slower.
It was just on the 2-hour mark, which that game could have been a lot faster had we all known, had we played some repeat plays.
We were having a chat.
We were having a laugh as well, so it was really good.
Look, I think to answer your question, just to add a point to that, Ralph, the main difference between the original base and the big box is in print. Base is woefully.
So you can't even get the base.
No.
If you can find it, good luck to you, but it hasn't been in print for years.
This is the now de facto edition of the game. So it says big box.
So it's just the normal box now.
Pretty much.
So big is the new normal. Yeah, it's printed in the US.
Yeah,
pretty much. All right. Anyway, we're not going to talk about Hansa for much longer, but we would. There is one final game that I'd like to talk about that we've been playing this week.
Hansa Teutonica.
Hansa Teutonica. No, just before we get to the Gateway Game of the Week, this week, Damien introduced me to Race for the Galaxy, a classic game that was released in 2007 by Thomas Lehman.
Same designer as Reza Khan.
Yeah, same designer. And this is basically his a very short tableau building sort of game. I'm not going to go into too much. I just want to say that because this game now has a myriad of expansions and stuff, this game is a very simple tableau builder. It's kind of the precursor to, I guess, the types of things that you would see in like Terraforming Mars and stuff.
Kind of. So,
it uses.
Not really.
Let me rephrase.
Part,
not the tableau. The action selection of Race for the Galaxy is used in Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition.
Yes.
Sorry, I need that.
I haven't played Ares.
No, sorry. That's why I need to. That's why I need to clarify that. Sorry, I realized. Yeah, the Ares Expedition of Terraforming Mars basically uses the exact same sort of action selection thing that you have here, which is this game works in 2 different phases. Essentially, you have. We each have a hand of cards, and we're trying to play those cards into our tableau of up to 12 cards. Pretty simple. You're trying to then, these cards can do a myriad of things, from potentially like some worlds will produce, some cards are research or development cards, and they help make you stronger, do things like drawing more cards, allowing you to produce more things, produce on places that you couldn't normally produce, etc. The twist of this game is that the cost of anything that you want to build are the cards in your hand. So a planet may say, this is a 3-value planet, so that means I need to discard 3 cards from my hand if I want to play this card. And that, in and of itself, is the first twist. The second twist is that there are 5 different phases, and the phases are owned. So in a 2-player game, we pick 2 each. In a 3-player game, you pick 1 each. 3 and 4, you play 1 each. But you only play the phases that are picked by the player. So if I pick phase 1, which is drawing cards, we all get to draw cards. However, if I'm the one who's the active person, I get a little bonus for doing that. Like I may get to draw an extra card and select an extra card. But Damien, he was the one who picked the development phase, so we all get to develop, but Damien gets a bonus. His developments are now costing one less. So it becomes a little bit of a bluffing game because you're like, I really don't want to have to select the settle phase right now because I really want to draw for a card. And so I think Damien also wants to, so I'm not going to select the settle phase. Oh my God, he didn't select the settle phase. What are you doing, you idiot? We need to settle. Right, that's literally the whole game of like...
You sound like my lawyer.
But like that, and that's what the game is. The game, we've been playing a lot on Board Game Arena. You can play a 2-player game of this in less than 10 minutes on BGA. It is so fast and snappy because the game ends when you have 12 cards in your hand, or each of there are like 24 point tokens or 26 or something like that. 24. Yeah. They get they're all gone and they go very quick.
I will say there's also an Android and iPhone app for this game as well, which works amazingly well.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to buy it because it is truly amazing.
Super cheap.
Damien, I hate you so much because you've introduced me to another game that now I really want to buy. I'm also 0-6 against him at the moment. I have yet to beat Damien. And in fact, I went and introduced it to Hamish, who we talked about.
I love
and he is now, I am now 0-3 against Hamish as well. I have not won a game against any one of my friends group in this game yet.
Yeah. Look, and a couple other things I'll mention quickly, just as Ralph mentioned there are special types of planets, so they are military planets, and they work a little bit differently. So you also maintain this counter where it's your military value, and as that goes up, it means that it allows you to play more and more powerful military planets,
because you're making your military stronger and stronger.
That's right.
And stronger.
Which means that is your resource you use to play those planets, so you don't have to use cards in your hand to play these planets out. But it's entirely dependent on you drawing these military cards. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that in the end, you are at the whim of the deck in front of you.
And with expansions, that can get diluted.
It can,
well.
yes, it can. But the last thing I will say is, so with the most fun part of this game are actually the last two phases. So the consume and the produce phase, and that it is in that order. So you have to produce first before you consume. And since...
And that's the other way. Consume before produce.
Sorry, yes, that's right.
So you can't... So you're hoping that... So, like, I'm going to produce this round...
Yes.
So that I can consume the next round. But by doing so...
You basically show your hand.
You're showing your hand to your
opponent. Okay, so your opponents know, oh, hold on, there's stuff being produced.
They're not going to play that card.
That's right, yeah. So, and if your opponent knows that you've produced, but they haven't, they're going to force you to play the consume action. But there are other cards which will allow you to, which will give you benefits when you do consume. So maybe you do want to waste your action.
So you can pivot your strategies as well.
Absolutely, and that's the thing I love about this game, is that you never feel like... So the military strategy is about the only time where I feel like you're locked in. It's like if you get to round 3 and you've gone military,
you're in.
You have to go, because otherwise
you have to be cycling 4 military cards. Otherwise, you're out of this game.
So your strategy will be about drawing cards and trying to get as many military cards as possible. So an example of that, I saw Neeber doing that one game.
Yep.
And so I started keeping all the military cards and not playing them.
So one of the perks of going for the draw phase, which is phase 1, is you literally can just draw 5 extra cards on top. So you normally just draw 2 cards and you discard 1. But if you pick the draw phase, you can draw 6 and discard 5. So you're only ever allowed to keep 1 of the cards. Right. So if you're trying to cycle through the deck, you have options to cycle, but you can then hate draft on your friend and just draw 6 cards and go, oh, they're all military cards. I'm not going to pick any of them.
Yeah.
And away they go.
I will say, like, as I
like the idea of a hate draft.
Yeah. I love that, yeah.
Because I had this game a couple of years ago. It's a really good game, but I found it really hard to come back to because there's so many icons, there's so much symbology, and as soon as that symbology is out of your head, I had to reacquaint myself again with those cards. So I found it really hard as a game to come back to after a few months.
I will say, Ralph, I agree with you. Like, actually, the biggest barrier to entry for this game was me actually going, I don't understand any of these symbols, what they all mean. The first time I tried to learn, watching like Knights Around the Table, which
it's a hard thing to learn.
It was a hard thing to learn, and then Damo, he was raving about it, so I said, all right, let's sit down and you teach me, and actually having him teach me and play a few rounds, it clicked, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah,
okay, I'm now in, I will say,
the app and BGA help a lot
with
that as well. But to me, it's like for me, I know it's not, but for me, it's a lifestyle game. I need to be in it
Yeah.
to be able to play
It is, and the thing is, this is also one of those games where, like I mentioned in our episode last week, where I said Gaia Project is one of those games where that'll be the game some people
That's what
play.
you play.
That's
Yeah.
what I play. Race for the Galaxy is another one of those games. I have played this against people who this is it. This is the game they play. They're
They're working out the best system. They got the
Absol-
optimal. It's like playing chess.
Yeah, so there's a guy that I work with. He's not a board gamer, but yet Race for the Galaxy appeared at a bar one time when I was traveling for work, and he sat down and I was shocked. I'm going, he goes, Race for the Galaxy is this is all I played in college.
Wow.
Right.
And so he just came in and just absolutely wiped the floor with us, and then we had to buy him beer, but that was fine. You know, we had a good time.
That sounds good.
But yeah, this is absolutely one of those games where if they made the player may not necessarily be a board gamer, but you mentioned Race for the Galaxy, they'll go, "Yep, I'm in."
Yeah. I can't wait, Nate, for you to see Roll for the Galaxy.
Yeah, you guys.
When Damien showed me that, I was like, it's all the same symbology as Race, but it's more fun because it's still a strategy game, but you're relying on those dice, and when you don't get the draw of dice you want, you're like, how can I pivot here?
Yeah.
It makes it interesting.
And everyone gets a cup.
That.
You get a cup.
You get a cup.
You guys are talking about it, and I'm actually really keen.
It's really cool to
go.
see that adaptation of it.
Yeah. I'd be keen. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because this is one of those games that, again, it's been out for now 15 years, and it is an absolute classic. And I'm really glad that I'm getting a chance to go back and play a few games. Oh, it's like it's really good. I'm just really
that on the shirt. It still slaps.
It still slaps.
Yeah, race
I'm just
slaps.
really happy that I get to go back through the years and actually play these games and actually get a chance to go and see what some of the absolute classics.
We should make that a thing. Like Scrabble still slaps, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Doesn't though. Did it ever slap?
Sorry, it's the first game that came out of my head.
All right. Well, anyway, we're going to move on now to our gateway.
Another game that slaps. Eh?
Yes. Yes, it does. We're going to be talking about our gateway game of the week this week, which is Bohnanza by U.A. Rosenberg. And I'm sorry, my Australian accent completely butchers his name there.
UA.
Yeah, U.A. Rosenberg. Anyway,
Mate,
so this
design
is
another game.
This is. I know he's already got so many of them. Anyway, I'm gonna pass this one to Damien to tell us about Bohnanza and our pre-podcast play, and then we're gonna have a quick chat about it before we get into our discussion topic.
Do you guys like beans?
Yes.
Love them.
I like beans.
How much do you love them?
About $25. That's how much.
$25 worth of beans. All right, that's a lot of beans.
So,
This game is also for people who don't like beans.
yes, if you don't like beans,
It should come
keep
in
listening.
a tin can.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if there is an edition that actually came in a tin can. I would not be surprised. So, as Nate said, Bohnanza, it is designed by Uwe Rosenberg. It's actually one of his earlier designs. So, Uwe Rosenberg, for any listeners who may know it, he is a famous designer. Well, more so famously for designing worker placement games that have some sort of animal husbandry / breeding thing in it. That's his shtick. Okay.
Yeah.
So whether
Sounds
it be
hot, doesn't it?
Lowlands like breeding sheep and stuff like that. But except you have to build the wall, otherwise the Irish Sea is going to come in and sweep all the sheep that you just bred back out.
basically,
So sheep breeding the sheep, not men fucking sheep.
No.
Yes, that's right.
Sorry,
yes,
don't get
yes.
us demonetized.
Yeah.
Now,
that's
now,
right. Great.
No, you get monetized in New Zealand, mate.
I'm gonna
It's all good.
have to put a beep in there. Great, thank you.
put it this way. Now, a lot of this is abstracted. You take it wherever you want to take it, Matt. I just want to say that. But so Uwe's famous for games like Agricola, Feast for Odin,
Caverna?
Caverna's another one that he's done, yes. But every now and then he releases something different. And actually, he did this a very, very long time ago in a card game called Bohnanza.
It's kind of like he did it as a challenge. It's like, you can't design a game with beans, can you?
You know, and he's just gone, you know what? I already did.
You couldn't design a game with beans. The Aussies come out.
And he's like, watch
bloody
me,
hell.
mate.
Give me 10 minutes.
I'm going to make, not only am I going to design a game with beans, I'm going to make you care for the beans. I'm going to make you beg for beans.
So, what you're doing in this game is you have a hand of cards, which you cannot reorder. Super important. And anyone who's listened before knows how much I love my card games where you cannot reorder your hand.
Yep.
And you are building you're building either 2 or 3 once you unlock your third plot of rows of beans. Okay, so you can plant up to 2 different types of beans at any given time. You cannot mix the types of beans that you are planting in the same row. And what your goal is to trade your way to the largest possible set of beans. So some beans are exceedingly rare, and you might only need 3 of them to get the maximum value out of them. Some beans are more common, and you need like 8 to get the maximum value out of them.
Or 12
or
in one of them.
12 in some cases. But what your turn consists of is at the beginning of your turn, you play 1 or 2 cards from the front of your hand. And so what I mean is that you will pick one side of your hand to be the back, and that's where cards come in, and one side of your hand to be the front. That's where cards come out and are planted to your field. The next part of your turn is you draw 2 cards off the top of your deck. This is where the trading comes in. You can choose to plant those cards, or you can choose to trade those cards with other people at the table. The only rule is, whatever the result of any trading or not trading that happens, all cards played have to be planted at the table.
Immediately.
Immediately. They do not go back into your hand. That's the kicker, because it is entirely possible that the table looks over at you and says, you know what? I'm going to force you to harvest those beans now while they're still worthless. I'm not going to trade those cards with you. You have to plant them.
You
into
need to
your
start
field
a new bean field
now.
And you
Destroy your beans.
You know
Yes.
how you're 1 bean away from getting a payout on those soybeans over there? You can get rid of them, you idiot. They crap.
And then at the end of your turn, once the trading is done, you draw 3 cards and you move on. In typical sort of older card game fashion, there's only a couple actions, but it always leads to a ton of laughs.
Oh.
It is a brilliant pub game. It is fantastic. You can play it at 2, but I would recommend it at least 3. I'd max out at 5. But again, it's just a game of you're putting beans in front of you, you're seeing what other people have, you're trading beans, you are purposely not trading with certain people just because they screwed you over the round before.
Whoa! Whoa!
Come on. We all knew it was coming.
Yeah,
That's
we
a
don't
fair
know
cop.
what's
Yeah,
coming.
that's a fair cop.
Well, and you're basically just trying to formulate really good deals when everyone else at the table knows you have nothing of value worth to them, and they are basically just absolutely reaming you.
Or formulate
over the
bad
trade.
deals just because you don't want them to give the point to
Pretty
Damien.
much. Pretty much.
Please
In
don't
fact-
give it to him.
In fact, there was one point where I just gave a card away just so someone else could benefit from it. It's like, here you go, take it. So one thing that I kind of skipped over and I touched on it at the beginning is that because you can't reorder your hand and because you're forced to always plant at the beginning of your turn from the front of your hand,
At least 1 bean
at least 1 bean,
must be planted.
what you're also trying to do is you're trying to trade cards that you cannot plant from your hand. And that's where the other kicker is. So you have to try and not only trade cards that you flipped, but also try and make sure that you can continually progress your hand into your field as best as possible.
Yeah.
And
because at the end of your turn, you also have to draw 3 new cards, which go into the back of your hand. So you're like, oh, I really need those beans in my field. Now I need to figure out how I can get rid of the beans in the front of my hand.
And that's it. So you're forever playing this little bit of a bluffing game as well. And so you can perform all levels of douchebaggery, like put a card face down on the table in front of other people and say, you really want that card.
Or you can do what you did to me and said, this is Nee, you're about to harvest those soybeans. I'll put this face down and make you think it's a soybean. And, well, it was.
It was.
But
It was.
I knew it was, but like you're playing mind games of like, are you sure you want to harvest that one? All right, I won't harvest it. Why? I mean, this is a red bean. You know, it's soybeans. That's the stupid. Now you're going to have to do it. Like, what the hell? Like, let me get, all these fun stuff. I got to say, this was a very surprise game because every time we go through the rules explanation, it's really hard to see where the fun is with this game.
It's beans.
It's beans. But it's
Yeah.
just like I play a card into my field, and then if I can't play a card into my field, I have to discard and hopefully do things. And then all of a sudden you just go, okay. But then you flip 2 cards face up, and now we start trading because all of a sudden you could like do what I did. You top deck a couple things. You're like, oh, sweet, these go into my field. Or you go, oh, I know Matt really wants this.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you got for me? And then like
Do you want a sexy soybean, Matt?
You want these chili beans, don't you? Right?
More chili.
More chili.
You and your sexy soybeans.
But
you
that
gotta
was,
check your sodium input, buddy.
but and that's where the fun starts. The fun really starts coming to this, which it felt like I thought that this was going to take longer than it felt like at the start. I'm like, this is going to take close to an hour. It actually took closer to like 30 minutes than an hour.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
And then all of a sudden, we were like, okay, let's. The turns start flying by because you're just like, okay, I know I'm immediately going to plant these beans. Sweet. Flip a couple new ones. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm just going to plant them. And then I draw some new cards and away we go. Or you have a turn, like we had a few of them, where it'd be like, okay, I can only plant one bean, like Ralph would do. And then he'd flip over two and go, right, who wants them? And he just let the bids come to him.
Bean me, baby.
Yeah, bean me.
I think the ability to expand your farm actually is a detractor for this game.
Yeah,
I think you should play with only 2 plots.
That
Because
could-
once we were all
riskier.
on 3 plots, it wasn't as cutthroat anymore. Like, it was a lot easier to escape those.
Well, here's
those
the thing,
those
which I
pitfalls.
noticed, which is that to upgrade to a third field, it cost you 3 beans. If I had not upgraded my field, I would have been 3 points ahead.
But
and
then, could you have built
I don't know.
a combo that
Yeah, I don't.
got you
That's
so
the
many
thing.
points?
but that's the thing, I don't
Yeah.
know. But that's the thing. That's
Depends
the
how
trade-off.
ballsy you are. How good
Yeah,
And it's
are you
also
exactly
at
right.
trading?
You then have to actually harvest beans earlier for less value.
Yeah.
I think with only the 2.
Yeah. The
That could work, yeah.
the
It
only
could
counter
work.
to that is that going to 3 plots also helps progress the game. The
I
game
suppose
starts
so.
to move faster. So the end of game trigger is basically you go through the draw deck 3 times, and every time you go through the draw deck, you shuffle up the discards, and that becomes your new draw deck. So the first time you go through it, you're going through all the cards.
Which is about 110, 120 cards. It's
Yeah,
quite
there's something like that. It's a decent sized deck.
Yep.
But the second time you go through, it's substantially smaller, and then the third time you go through, it is tiny. Like that third, I think the third phase we only went round.
It wouldn't surprise me if
I think we just got 1 or 2 turns.
That was
yeah,
it.
it literally it went down from like 110 to like 80, and then it went from 80 down to like 30 cards.
Yeah.
Because like we all had massive piles of cards in front of us trying to get big points. Plus, then we also had discarded cards, and we had cards that were as
But
point cards.
maybe the rule actually should be that you can't expand to 3 until the second round of
Maybe.
the deck or something.
Yeah.
Because I said once we all were on 3, we were trying to stuff each other up, but it really wasn't as.
But it made the
Oh well, I have to now get nothing for this.
it made the
array.
trading market easier, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not a bad
because
thing,
it keeps.
but I don't think it was as cutthroat as it could have
But
been.
it doesn't have to be. It keeps the game engaging for everyone at the table
Yeah.
if you can trade easier.
Yeah.
I think
Matt
it-
wants to cut some bits.
Yeah.
No.
He
I
went-
just think that angst should last a little longer through
Sure.
the game.
Sure.
Like there
It
should
is
be a
fun.
release valve, sure, but once we hit that, it wasn't as punishing.
But I think it's designed to be that little bit of a family game.
Yeah.
Just that little
Oh look,
bit.
I think
I've already wasted my F-bomb on this podcast, so I won't say it again.
You wasted the whole podcast. F-bomb. We're going to get one an episode.
I agree with both of you. I do agree that yes, once you go to 3 fields, it becomes a little easier to get out of jail, so to speak. But basically, playing this game, I don't see it as the type of game where you try and min max everything. The reason why I love this game is because is a table talk. It produces the game just becomes a mechanism just to basically sling crap at each other.
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
That's
Talk
really
stupid about
yeah,
beans.
that's it, yeah.
We could play this prison rule styles and just go for the throat. You
Yeah.
can't upgrade your farm.
You could do that. You could do that.
You could. Look, it's such a simple game that implementing those house rules will be quick and easy to do and try out. And
Yeah.
it really wouldn't be a problem.
I'm not playing prison rule styles until this guy's had a couple more hours sleep.
Oh,
He may actually shiv someone.
That's right. Yeah. Like I'm not interested in like I'm not so desperate that Dan Murphy's like Dan Murphy's still open, so I'm not really keen on toilet wine just yet. But we may get there.
Maybe.
This game was created in 1997, so it is now 26 years old.
I tell
Wow.
you what, like,
Just-
I can't wait to buy this game. And the next time I have 4 people over and we have half an hour, this is getting to the table. I'll tell you that.
I will say, in terms of from a gateway game, the teach was a bit like you have to say to people, just go with me for 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
once this clicks, it'll click.
It takes a round of the table.
It did take
or
a couple of
yeah.
rounds, like because you were like, okay, and Damien, you said to us like, let me just start, and we'll play a couple of rounds, and then all of a sudden, literally after the first round or the second round, when we started to have to discard beans and the trading happened, it was like, oh,
It was fun. It was fun for
and
all of us.
You know, it was great.
Yeah.
And then we immediately got in. But this is one of those ones that it may not click with people immediately. So you need to know that from a gateway standpoint is that if you're going to buy this game, like highly recommended, like gets the stamp of approval. But this is one of those games that it could potentially bounce off people if they're not willing to trade or they're not willing to have like some silly moments where it's like, nah, sorry, you just deal with it.
Yeah.
For me, the teach of this game felt, I know I was on the receiving end of the teach, but it felt like teaching Skull to another player.
Yeah, actually,
because there are some people that won't quite get it, and there is a great game there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I agree.
Yeah, it's not terribly intuitive, but at the same time, it's also group dependent. You have to be okay with negotiating games.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people aren't.
Yeah,
and that's cool. That's awesome. You know, but this is where the game shines. Like you have to negotiate. You have to do. You have to perform tabletop.
But I feel like at some point you have to trade because you have that annoying bean in your hand that you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
you
forced to
have to.
play
Yeah.
unless you can get rid of that.
The odds of you having a scenario where the cards just fall perfectly for you are impossibly slim.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
so
I'll
you
be
have
honest,
to trade.
I won the game we played, but I felt like a lot of the times the cards I drew, there was only like one bean that was in the way of my engine, and I just needed to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
it didn't
felt
feel
that.
like I was like, had no strategy.
I
Yeah.
felt like I had quite a few in the way, so maybe I felt a little bit like, especially from the get go, I had no duplicates or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I do think this game itself, it was a lot of fun. Like we had a lot of fun laughing, and at the end of it, we were just like, crap, right?
Yeah.
And I actually thought Damo was in the lead, but
No.
turns out that Ralph was actually.
No,
Because I
in it.
kept hiding that.
Ralph,
Yeah.
Ralph kept doing the whole deflecting thing.
I was like, don't
So-
give it to Damien. He's going to win. He's already
Yeah.
got so many. And realize I'm sitting on a fat stack, you know? A lot of beans coming my way.
This guy.
No.
This guy needs fat stacks.
No, absolutely recommended. Really great game. Relatively cheap. There's a new version out that has expansions as part of it now as well. So
Yeah, so for anyone out there who's interested, you can buy the base copy, and I think the base is like $20.
Yeah, $20-$30.
But-
I'm most likely going to get
But
that.
but if you get if you're willing to part with an extra $5, you get the anniversary edition, which plays up to 7. And it's got a couple little expansions in there as well.
Yep.
The expansions are great. They just add a little more flavor.
Some sexier beans.
Sexier beans.
A fava bean.
Ooh, we got black
A-
beans
a
in here
bean
as
bag.
well.
Bean bag.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have cocoa beans in the expansion. You know?
all right, this is getting weird. We need to move on
Yes.
from Bean City. All right, we're gonna move
We
on.
built this.
We built Bean City.
We built Bean City. All right, we're going to move on now to our final segment for the week. We're going to move on to...
Now that we're all dads, the dad jokes will be thick. and
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
We should do a whole dad jokes.
Oh, God.
I'm pretty sure we were already doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, someone's going to do a montage of that at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, all right. We're going to move on to our final segment for the night. It's a bit of a fun one. We've been planning this one for a while and haven't had a chance to until we had a few hosts around the table. So we're going tonight to do Keep, Sell, and Burn. We asked our community to come up with a 3-game list, and we had to choose. We have to keep one, we have to sell the one, you have to burn one. And then we're going to laugh at each other and get each other to justify why you chose those ones. Very simple, very easy. It'll give you a look at what we like, what we don't like, etc., all that stuff. So we're going to start with one from one of the members of our community, Tristan. We're going to start with the Golden Gateway Trio. We're going to start with Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, and Catan. You have to keep one, you have to burn one, and you have to sell one, gentlemen. So
I just realized I haven't updated my board. We have these little boards if you're watching
Yeah.
the video, which we're going to write down our flavor of
Yep.
what we want to keep, what we want to sell,
oh no,
and
this
what are we
sucks.
going to burn for fire.
So go to our YouTube channel, go to youtube.com and then type in @BG Gateway into the search bar there. You will find our YouTube channel. You'll be able to see us writing, and then we'll put these to the camera. And this sucks. I don't know. All right. Are we all ready, gentlemen, for the first reveal? I think I'm ready. All right. Ready?
All right, I think we're all going to be pretty similar on this one.
I think we are. I think there's a good chance. All right. So, Matt, we're going to start with you. We're going to start with your reveal, please.
Keeping Ticket to Ride, selling Catan, and burning Carcassonne.
Oh, that's the same as me.
Hang on. You're burning
Oh, wait, that's the wrong way around.
Carcassonne?
No,
I
Because
got
you just
mine the
bought
wrong
the
way
big
around.
box
Yeah, you're
for
right.
it.
Sorry, I put that in the wrong way around.
Granted, like it all burned for a while.
Selling Carcassonne and selling Catan.
Burning.
No,
Catan.
burning Catan.
There you go. He's got
God
it.
damn it.
That's
Start
exact
again.
same- that's
Take
exa-
2.
There's no takes. It's all live. This is me. The same as well. I've got keeping TTR, Ticket to Ride, selling Carcassonne, and burning the crap out of Catan.
No, you're wrong. We are keeping Carcassonne.
Yeah, Damien and I are on the same page.
We are
here.
selling Ticket to Ride because there's about 1 million
All right,
editions,
here we
and
go,
you can
all right.
always get another
All
one.
right, before we move on to the next one, I need to know why are you keeping Carcassonne over Ticket to Ride? Go.
Because it's a better game.
You're
Oh,
wrong.
that's
You're
that,
wrong.
No, he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah, and he's entitled to his
Wrong.
his wrong opinion.
No, I agree with you.
It's a better game.
Look, Ticket to Ride is great. I've just played it a lot. It's been around for a long time. I've only played Carcassonne literally last year, so why not?
I'm keeping Ticket to Ride because Robbie played with us
That's nice.
a couple of weeks ago. So that's the next iteration.
So
in
even
his
though you
board game
bought,
journey.
even though you bought the
Yeah.
bought the big box,
Because this is all imagination,
Right,
right?
okay,
So
fair
I don't actually have to get rid of the big
This
box.
is
Oh, right,
legally
this is-
blinding.
you're selling the big box copy.
Within
Yes.
the
Bring
year.
the lawyers in.
Whereas my daughter brought out Carcassonne even last night to play, and our kids represent the best versions of us. And if that's the case, she's making the correct decisions.
All right.
Carcassonne stays. Ticket to the Ride gets sold, and Catan gets burnt because, well, so much wood gets traded in that fucking game. There's enough kindling there. It would
Not
burn.
enough sheep. No, I love them all, but in the end, I think it comes down to I just prefer Ticket to Ride in terms of if I'm looking at these three as the Golden Gateway trio, I'm like I'd much rather teach someone Ticket to Ride than Carcassonne, but Carcassonne would be the second step up. But I'm like, if I have to keep one, I much enjoy. I've actually been playing a lot of Ticket to Ride where it's like, when you play with people who actually know the game, it actually becomes really fun because there's a lot more blocking in the game than you initially imagined. But
Do you mind if I pitch the next one, guys?
yes,
for it.
please. Oh,
Yeah,
please
all
do.
good. Okay, so we're a podcast about gateway games, so I'm going to list 3 gateway games here,
Uh-oh.
and I'm interested to see where this lands for some people.
All right, what do you got?
So we're going to go for Anomia, Cockroach Poker, and Skull.
Oh.
So this is going to be a tough one.
All right, so Cockroach Poker,
Skull.
Anomia, and
Anomia
Skull.
and Cockroach Poker.
I don't think
Oh,
I've played Skull, so this is easy for me.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
all right. I know. I already know. I think I'm going to be similar to a couple of people here. Maybe. Let's see. All right, I'm going to reveal first because I've got this one
Go
here.
for it, Nick.
All right, I'm going to keep Cockroach Poker. I'm going to sell Skull, and I'm going to burn Anomia. Yeah, that's fine.
Ooh, Damien, you surprised me there. What you got there, sir?
So I will keep Anomia. I will sell Cockroach Poker, and I will burn Skull. Reasoning:
Go for it.
Anomia, you cannot replace that with a regular deck of cards. Cockroach Poker, my original copy was just 2 decks of cards smashed together.
Ah, that's smart.
And Skull,
Lame. Sorry, no, I'm sorry.
I couldn't get it.
I'm so sorry.
I couldn't get a copy.
I'm sorry.
I could not get a copy initially, so we just
Yeah,
played it
that's
with
fair
2
enough.
decks of
No.
cards. And finally, Skull. I like Skull, but it's very hit and miss with most of my game groups. Like, some will really like it. My family don't really like it, so I could.
It's group dependent.
I reckon
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
fucking cheap shot, though.
What do you mean?
Saying that you
That's
get
2.
rid of
That's
cockroach.
too. Like, you need a swear jar.
Saying that
2
you
and
get
you-
rid of cockroach poker because you can just replace it with a couple of decks
Yeah.
of cards, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was
that
literally
is a
about to say.
cop-out,
I was about to
yeah.
say he's found a freaking loophole.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know
right.
if I like it
Yeah,
or not.
You know what? If you have
Yeah.
your own publishing company, you can have all the games.
Right,
That's
Matt,
right.
what are your 3?
I'm burning Skull because I never played it. Sell Anomia and keep cockroach.
See, here's the
poker.
thing. I reckon the moment that Matt plays Skull, that immediately changes to you'll sell Skull. I mean, I wish.
Well,
you
I haven't
could
played
keep
it, so
Look,
currently it's on the burn list.
I went to burn Anomia. The reason being is I've had it for a few years now.
Yeah.
I've got the big party box. I haven't played with all of the decks, but they just get more complicated. And then most of the time it gets to the point where you're like, what's that mean? What's that? I don't know
Yeah.
what that is. And then people list examples for the person who's stuck. And you're like, well, that kind of ruins the game a bit, doesn't
Play
it?
with
Yeah.
smarter people.
Yeah.
I should meet some.
He doesn't know any smarter people.
It's me, Damien. I have a small vocabulary, but I went to keep Cockroach Poker. It's always a hit, and sell Skull,
Yeah.
even though it is a hit for my group most
All
of
right,
the time.
I'm going to move on to another member of our community now, Nick. Who happens to be he's my brother, Nick Glynn. He put this one into. He saw this post and he put these 3 games in. So we have a repeat. We have Cockroach Poker. It's back, but it's now going up with Coup and Secret Hitler. So, deception bluffing games, the 3 of them. Nick wants to see what he thinks between Coup, Cockroach Poker, and Secret Hitler.
Ooh.
And it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
Easy.
All right, Damien, you go first then. Tell the people at home.
Duke money, baby. We're
Right.
keeping Coup.
You're keeping Coup. He loves Coup. Yeah.
We are selling
There's
Skull.
no skull. It's cockroach poker.
Cockroach
Poker.
Poker.
Apologies. We're
Yeah.
selling Cockroach Poker.
Oh, what?
Well, he likes Coup more than Cockroach Poker.
No.
Again, I can replace it with a regular deck of
Oh,
cards.
that's such a
Ah,
Mr. Moneybags over
Yeah.
here.
Matt.
and we're
all his
burning
decks of
Secret
All
Hitler.
these decks of cards. You
I'm-
can't touch that one. That's 2 decks
I'm the
matched
same.
together. That's for a
Same?
different game.
Keep Coup, sell Cockroach Poker, burn Secret Hitler.
Coup is so good.
See, for me, I'm selling Coup because Coup is very group dependent. Again, it has that same teach thing as Skull. If not, the barrier of entry is even higher because you can't take your daughter, Matt, and say, hey, let's play Coup. You know, that's not going to happen. But you could teach your daughter Cockroach Poker. I'm burning
God.
Secret Hitler because
Obviously.
there's better deception games out there.
So if you're on a webcam, you'll see Dog Cam. I'm going to highlight him in the video. I think I'm going to... My dog is sniffing around.
He may be dog in the way of the cable cam. That's all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
all right. All right, we're going to... All right. Well, all right, Damien, I'm going to give you...
Did you answer that one?
No, I
he
didn't.
He didn't.
No, I didn't. Mine is going to be keep. I'm the same as you guys. Keep Coup, sell Cockroach Poker. Coup is just one of those games. Yes, it is group
Duke money
but
every
all
time.
of the groups
Yeah,
that
Duke
I've
money
played
every
with,
time.
it always
Yeah.
lands. But I can't see that.
Duke money.
Still slaps.
Yeah, because that.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna.
I'm pretty sure we played a game of Coup where everyone had the Duke in one round.
Yeah,
Everyone was just
yeah.
playing the cash.
Everyone's
Like,
because no one wanted.
hang
to,
on a second.
Everyone's got Duke money. 6 players.
That,
It's
that
great.
was good. That was at
At
Google
GubbleCon.
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
right.
Everyone had Duke.
All right, we're gonna move to. We're gonna go to one that is now no longer. You can just replace with a deck of cards, and this is one that I just wanted to put in there because I thought all 4 of us would get a kick out of this one, and I hate it. The 3 games: Twilight Imperium, Brass Birmingham, and Terraforming Mars.
Oh,
I want to hear. I know. Well, Damien's obviously got a quick burn there, but this is really freaking hard. I'm legitimately like, I don't know which one I want to keep and sell here.
Yeah, you do.
I know what Mr. Moneybags is going to sell there.
Oh my god. Oh, this is.
All right, so Damien, you and I are on point here. So we're
Yeah.
both keeping Brass Birmingham.
absolutely.
We're both selling Twilight Imperium 4 to get the cash to buy more cards.
Exactly right. Because
And
you can get serious coin for
I'm
that.
legitimately doing the same thing. I
Yeah.
am doing the same thing. Brass TI4. Brass
think
TI4.
we all
and
did
then-
the same
We're all
thing.
on the same point.
But only because I can make a lot of money from Twilight Imperium.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think
Surely,
look,
right?
I think for me, as much as like I've got the extra stuff for TI4 and much as I love that game, I'm just like, if I had a chance just every night to sit down and play a game, I'm gonna pick Brass any day of the week to
Yeah.
play.
Like, but say you did have all the time in the world to play TI4, I wouldn't play it every day.
no,
Yeah.
No.
again, no. I think I'd rather play Brass. Yeah.
It's a game where TI4 is almost like
It's a Super Bowl.
yeah, no,
maybe.
yeah.
No,
It's an event.
it's a game that you need to play, and then you need a break long enough to remember how much your back hurt from sitting at the table for so long. Then you go, yeah, we should play again. That was really, really good. And it's like, yeah.
It's kind of like going to a music festival. Like, while you're there, you're
Yeah.
not quite digging the songs. You're kind of enjoying yourself, but you're taking in secondhand smoke.
Yeah.
You're kind of over it. Your back's sore. People are moshing next to you. There's like a 13-year-old next to you. Like, what's he doing there?
Yeah,
And then you get home the next day, you're like, far out, that was awesome.
yeah, that was great. It's like, and you forget about the sweatiest man alive who was
Yeah.
rubbing up against you.
That's
at the same
right.
time.
The BO's gone.
I've never been to one, so I wouldn't
Oh,
Really, I have never been to a music festival.
No,
No.
you're missing
oh,
out.
you're missing
No, I'm
out.
not. You guys have not sold it to me at all just now.
I
I
mean,
have to go to a festival with
I mean,
you.
like,
no, I'll do
Alright,
it. No, it just
trying-
sounds like such a
trying-
nightmare.
trying to go like lining up for a cubicle for half an hour and to walk into a cubicle where there's like a pool
No,
at
No.
the bottom.
All right. Okay, so we've got a couple more that we want to do. Now, this one is just for Ralph and for Damien because I
okay.
wanted this. I saw this one. Just it's not for me either. I've got Gloomhaven, Frosthaven, Too Many Bones.
Oh, shit.
I want you guys to pick which one. Like, do you like Frosthaven more than Gloomhaven? Do you like Gloomhaven more than Too Many Bones? Are you gonna keep both of the havens? I don't know.
This is actually really hard.
As soon as I saw these, Damien is like, he's got it. He is down.
Alright, Damien, you go first.
What do you got?
All right.
Let's justify this.
We're keeping Too Many Bones. We're selling Frosthaven.
Because you can make the most amount of money out of it.
Exactly
at the
right.
moment.
Because
Yep.
historically, the way the Haven games go You sell now, and then you just buy it again in 2 years' time at half the price. So it's fine.
Yeah.
And you sell Gloomhaven because you can't even get $50 for it these days.
Well, you
for
burn
the
it.
Massive
You
box.
burn-
You
burn
burn
it.
it. Sorry.
The amount of components.
So just to repeat correctly this time, keeping too many bones, selling Frosthaven, burning Gloomhaven.
Yeah, Ralph, your face does not say that was correct.
Interesting. All right, so I went kind of opposite. So we're keeping Frosthaven. It was really hard because we haven't seen all the classes and what Frosthaven has to offer fully. I have seen what Gloomhaven has to offer. I'll say 90% of it. But I'm burning Gloomhaven, keeping Frosthaven, selling too many bones because I borrowed too many bones off a friend of mine over a weekend. Played through the 5 tyrants, played through all 4 guys. I really smashed through it, and then I was like, "There's no more game here for me." And then you need to spend $60 more to get another character.
Right.
So, selling too many bones.
And also, you can't burn too many bones because there's so much neoprene in there. I'm pretty sure it actually will have an environmental impact.
All right.
So,
yeah, I think so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, and
But yeah,
our
keeping
final,
Frost on that one.
our final keep, sell, and burn for this evening. We are going. I would like you to please, gentlemen, including myself, to pick between Monopoly, Risk, and Cluedo. Your 3 keep, sell, and burn, please.
Can I burn all 3? No.
I am.
So what were they?
Monopoly, Risk, and Clue. So Cluedo, Clue, your variation. Take your pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're all very similar here. All right, I'm going to go first because I missed a couple here, but I'm going to go first. As we all know, I think we all will have in the burn pile. I'm going to be burning Monopoly. I'm going to be selling Risk, and I'm going to be keeping Clue. And I know that can be controversial for a lot of people over there, but for me, I've already told you how Clue is a bit of a different game at my household. Clue is actually just an information gathering game. So no matter, similar to, however you get the information is up to you.
So you look at other people's
You can look at other people's card and sheets. It's just an information gathering game. And that's why how we play Clue.
I do like that part of Cluedo. However, the roll and move part is just brutally slow in that game. For that reason, we are selling Cluedo. We are keeping Risk. Even though, yes, you just sit in Australia and just turtle for the whole game and you basically win. I appreciate that is just the strategy.
The new versions of Risk actually now have a CC line from Africa into Australia to stop that from happening.
To stop that happening, yeah. And we are burning Monopoly. Pick your edition. Even if it's like the grandiose golden one, I don't care. Burn it.
You're next.
I'm next. Okay, so I wanted to keep Cluedo, but I wrote keep Cluebo. so I think I went to like a $2 store and got the counterfeit one. But
what's Rish?
So I changed my mind. Initially, I had Monopoly as the burn, but I chose Monopoly to sell because there are some collectors out there, and I could buy more decks of cards.
See, he's a logistical man. He just likes to think. Buy low, sell high.
Mate, if I'm selling, that's right. That's right.
That's true.
And we're burning Risk. I have Risk. I do have a special place for it, but I don't think I ever want to play it again.
That's fair enough. Matt,
I'm flipping the table on this. I'm burning Cluedo. What a boring ass game.
Boo.
I do want to say, Damien, previously when I played Cluedo, we house ruled the teleporting rule. Don't worry about the dice. Just you teleport anywhere you want. You can take your turn.
Yeah,
You can't. Okay, but that doesn't make it a good game.
No, I never said
Change
that.
the whole thing.
I never said that. It makes it over.
I was so excited to get Cluedo, and the first time I
we-
played it, I went, "Yuck!" Even as an 8-year-old, like this.
we
is
did something
dull.
similar to your teleporting rule, but we only just went. It's the rooms next door, so you still had to get to the corners to transfer
fair.
from
Right.
corner to corner.
Secret
But you could just go
passages.
to the next room and just keep asking questions. If
Matt, you
wanted
need to play Cluedo.
Oh, I can't wait to play Cluedo.
What'd you keep? What'd you sell?
I'm keeping Monopoly because everyone has to have a copy of Monopoly. It's. And
Do they?
I have.
Do they?
Apparently, it's not in my collection,
I've
but
got
in my
4 for some reason.
in my house, I have I think a dozen Star Wars Monopolies, but they're technically not in my collection.
Actually, at my parents' house, we've got a Star Wars Monopoly. Actually.
I have a Star Wars Monopoly right down there as well.
So
It's still on the
I'm
shelf.
selling Risk
It's not like normal
for that
Monopoly.
reason.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't know that I enjoy playing it, but
look, if you have to make a choice, you make
it was.
a choice.
I think it was the first board game I ever asked to be gifted to me when I was young. I think
Same.
your mum gave
Very
me my
similar.
first copy.
I wouldn't be surprised. I will say the Star Wars Monopoly version is very, very different to regular Monopoly and did lead to almost breaking up your brother and his ex-girlfriend, which was absolutely hilarious.
I do want to play the Cheetahs version of Monopoly.
I do want to try that.
I've never tried it, but
I do want to try it. All right, and with that, that was a really fun segment. I really enjoyed doing that. If you want to see all the madness, see our spelling, all that fun stuff, see all of our nice little names on our whiteboards, you go to our YouTube channel at BG Gateway and go there. We also have a Discord, a Facebook group. Go to our website, www.boardgamegateway, and you'll be able to find all the links to the appropriate stuff. We've just started a TikTok account, Ralph.
Yeah.
Have we?
Yeah, we started a TikTok account.
Yeah, I've been, like I said, I've been lonely at home, so I've made a TikTok. It's my only
He
fans.
put it.
Are we all over 30 on this table?
Well, yeah, but
But I tell you what, we're bringing in some subscribers from
Are we?
His first TikTok he put onto YouTube Shorts and it brought in 13 new subscribers and had 2,000 views, which was more than anything we've ever done. So
Hooray
it's
for
great.
TikTok.
Yeah,
suppose.
TikTok's something. It's good.
He's basically going to start making meals out of board
Yeah,
games
pretty
now.
much. if you enjoyed what you listened to, guys, please subscribe on YouTube, your podcasting place of choice, wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much. See you later.
Littles.
Bye.
I don't know. I was actually bored on Friday night. And I was just like, how do I use TikTok? I just started learning, and I was like, fuck it, I'll just try and make something.
So I logged in a day that you used it and I changed the hashtag